talking about winter carnivals here in Quincy. Sally Owen has stopped on by from the Quincy Parks Department's Environmental Treasures program to tell us about her latest upcoming program on the St. Moritz Winter Festivals in Quincy. Hi, Sally.
Hey.
How are you?
Great.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Same to you.
Yes. So take us back then, if you would, to 1929 and tell us about the St. Moritz Winter Festivals or Carnivals that were held in Quincy.
Yeah. So basically, a group of Scandinavian immigrants who had moved to Quincy formed the Blue Hills Recreation Club, and they wanted to have winter sports. And the second Winter Olympics took place in St. Moritz, Switzerland in 1928.
Okay.
So they got their idea, let's have our own Olympics, Winter Olympics. And so they got some money, like $1,000 or whatever. I don't know if it's from the city or the state, but, and they created the ponds that you now see over behind the Shea Rink. That was all a wetland. So they created ponds for skating. They built this incredibly large ski jump, and they had 2 toboggan chutes for people to go down. And so what we're doing is we're going to actually I'm having a walk on Saturday. One is at 10 o'clock and one's at 1 o'clock. You have to register for them because there's a limited number of people who can come. And we're going to kind of go back in time and see where there are vestiges left of the Winter Carnival, and also by using old photographs of the scene. So
there are still some remnants of the, I guess, Olympic Park that was created,
well,
right?
the ponds are there.
Okay.
I mean, they were not there before.
They were man-made then? They were dug
they
out
were
with
artificially
excavators?
created. And someone said that one of the people from Almquist Florist Land had some equipment, garden equipment or whatever, and helped or maybe did dig those ponds.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
And, so the toboggan chutes and the ski jump. So.
Are still there?
No, they're not there. There's, in fact, the toboggan run was started in the parking lot of the ice skating rink.
Okay.
But it was very high.
Yeah.
And a lot of the dirt there was excavated to build the Blue Hills Reservoir. So that whole bunch of land has changed, but you can still see footings from the ski jump, and you can still see the steep hill.
Okay, all right.
That you have to go down. In fact, I just want to say, if people would like to register for the tour, this tour will be 2 hours leisurely stroll, but you have to be able to walk up and down, a couple of steep hills.
Okay, all right. So a little bit physically demanding. So some proper footwear is essential, right?
Right.
A good walking stick, maybe.
Yes, and by having everyone register, I'm going to go out and check out the ground again on Friday, and send an update to people about, like the last time I went was all mud.
Sure.
And flooded. There's a beaver dam now there too.
Ah, okay.
So the beavers are doing some flooding.
I got you. Okay, all right.
So I'll be sending an update to people who've registered.
Okay, all right. So how long did it take them to create this park, if you will? I mean, it's not something you just decide and all of a sudden you have a ski jump and a toboggan run.
I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't think it took too long, because it started in 1929 and the Olympics was in 1928.
Right.
And so they got the idea from the Winter Olympics in St. Moritz. So
so
they
6 months maybe?
Maybe.
Put it together in a hurry.
Right.
This was a big deal, though, right? This was not just a small group of people that went out and had an afternoon of figure skating and sledding.
Well, it was open all winter for people to skate, but during this carnival, when they ended up having it, depending on snow and ice conditions and et cetera, one time there was like 50,000 people who came, and it was like
50,000 people.
1934, and there was it was filmed and on newsreels throughout the whole country.
Yes.
When you go to the movie theater, that's how you got your news back then.
Yeah.
And so this St. Moritz Winter Carnival was on there,
National
1934.
News.
Yeah.
We have a little clip of that video that
yeah.
we're going to show folks, and hopefully you can tell us exactly what it is that we're seeing, that we're looking at. So let's roll that beautiful footage, as they say.
Yeah,
and here we have the St. Moritz Winter Carnival.
So they're doing this during the Depression.
Yeah.
So it was, perseverance and ingenuity of how to have fun.
Yeah.
Look at the old cars.
So this is 1929.
Well, I don't know. This is
Okay.
sometime between 1929 and 1940.
Okay, all right, so one of the years. And who's doing the filming, Sally? Do you know who?
Well, I know that it was put out by this group, PATHE, P-A-T-H-E, which did all of the newsreels back then.
Okay. Then we have the MDC Mounted Police, right?
Yes.
And a building in the background there, which I thought was the horse barn, but you say no. It's,
No, the horse barn today is bigger.
Okay. And obviously they tried
This
to
is where they
include-
created the, did the skating.
Yeah.
And they had all kinds of skating. They had what they call fancy skating, which was like the professional ice skating. Then they had like barrel jumping. Here's one now. This is good. Look at this guy right
somebody
there.
like laying on the ice there.
And so evidently there was one ice skater that could go over 6 barrels.
Is that right? So they tried to mimic the Olympic events, right?
I don't know if they had toboggans. I guess they did. Okay, this is incredible. I remember like years ago our family had a toboggan, but people don't have that anymore. But
Now, were these held at night also? I see some lights in some of the venues.
yeah, they did have lights that they,
Okay.
I think the toboggans were just for the public to go up whenever they wanted to.
So this was not competition then? It was just basically for fun?
But you see that steep hill behind
Yes.
you? That's the, that hill is now the parking lot of the ice skating rink.
On Willard Street?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep.
All right. So this basically
So
it all
look at
took
that.
place right
That is a ski jump, and that they had built, and we will go up to look at where some of the foundations of that ski jump were.
Okay. Now, I mean, these folks have talent. So, I mean, who were these athletes, these competitors? This is not just general folks.
I think some of them were just local people,
Really?
and then after a while, they got for this ice skating anyway. They got professionals who did circuits around the country to come. And it must have been very difficult because they would go to the professionals would be going from one venue to another,
Right.
and if they had to constantly be rescheduling because there was not enough snow or ice. And in fact, the very first one, dozens of spectators of the ice skating fell into the water, like the ice cracked,
Oh.
and they ended up into their waist.
Oh, my. Okay.
1929, a nice start to the ice skating.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, again, no competition, so no gold, silver, bronze. It was not.
I don't know if you can see it now, but at the top of the ski jump, there was a group of people who were watching it like professionals or something. So maybe they did have.
Okay.
Maybe they
Because
did have something.
It's obvious that some of these folks have done this many, many times before.
Right.
It's
Some
not
of, these
just-
are like the professionals back then.
Right, but you see the mounds of snow that they had to clear
Right.
to create the ice rink there.
And that was another thing. 1934, the park department truck that was scraping the snow off the ice sank into the pond.
The truck sank in the pond.
The truck sank into the pond.
Now, to myself, I'm thinking, well, you're digging out wetlands. Like, if you tried to do that today,
and just look, hold on,
Yeah.
look at this. This is like so much for safety.
this is- yeah, they're right on the jump,
They're right on the jump.
Yeah.
There's a guy right in the middle of the jump, and it's going down. The ski jump is ending in the pond. Yeah, sorry. So what were you going to say?
so it's not really highly regulated. But look at the hordes of people that
I
came
know,
out.
I
Did they
know.
have to pay, to
No,
attend?
it was free.
It was all
It was free, yeah.
Okay. But I'm thinking today, if you try and do that, the environmental permits that you would have to get
Right.
would be, prohibitive, right?
I know,
It wouldn't
I
be
know.
allowed. This was
Yeah.
just folks taking it upon themselves. The land itself, was it public land, do you know?
Yeah, it was. Well, the MDC,
Okay.
which is now the DCR.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were regulating the, their horses and stuff. So they.
Okay.
I think this was their land. I
Okay.
don't know any details about. They must have gotten approval to do it.
Right. But again, it was just something that the general public could go and do.
Yeah, and they could. There were lights, and they could do it all. They could do it all winter.
Yeah.
Skating and tobogganing and
Yeah.
things like that.
Why did it stop? What happened? Do you know what
Well,
led to the end of it?
World War II.
Okay.
So people went away, and I guess, out of 12 years, only 6 times
Yeah.
were they actually able to have the carnival.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of perseverance.
Yeah.
And maybe refrigeration came in at some point, because now we have that ice skating
The
rink.
MDC rinks were
So,
all over. Yeah.
Yeah, so right at Shea Rink,
Yeah.
so that was created with it. So,
Okay.
but it's just a wonderful story of perseverance, ingenuity, and during the Depression. I mean, I was thinking today, coming over here, that what we've gone through with the trauma of COVID and
Yep.
whatever. I mean, it's inspiring that, here it's a very difficult time,
Yeah.
and yet people have still found ways to have fun.
Yeah, well, it also made it accessible to the general population, right?
Right,
Because
right.
the Olympics are usually something that most people, can't afford to or at least access.
Right,
So here it is,
right.
you're bringing it home. It's interesting that it was the immigrants that had the idea from their homeland, right?
Right, right.
To bring
right.
a little piece of
But
that
they loved,
here.
winter sports.
Yeah, in
so.
Scandinavia, of course, they're probably born with ice skates and skis on practically,
Yeah. I just want to say, too, that
Yeah.
Tom Bonomi, who is going to be leading one of the two tours, I'm
Yep.
going to lead the one at 1, and he's going to lead the one at 10.
Okay.
Years ago, he did all this research. He went through every Patriot Ledger every day for December, January, and February from 1929 to 1940, and copied every article dealing with Sam Moritz, and he collated it into a notebook that you can access if you go over to the reference desk at the library and ask for the notebook on the Winter Carnival. You can look at some of these.
Oh, good
really
for him.
fascinating.
Must have taken him a long time to do that
Yeah,
research.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, he has just an encyclopedic knowledge of
Yeah.
this, and their photos and stuff too.
Also, that video, the full-length video, will be posted to our website here. It's qatv.org/Winter Carnival, and folks will be able to go online and watch that. And we'll post this show that we're doing today on there as well, so folks can hear you explain what it's all about. 'Cause
That's right. And so yeah, it's great. So if you have friends or whatever, or family that you want to show them, or even if you can't go, or you don't want to go in the middle of the winter time, you can. Go look at this movie, and then go to the library, check out some of the articles in Tom's notebook, and wander around yourself. Sometimes the ponds are still there,
Yep.
and it's pretty neat. The other thing that's in those notebooks that I found incredibly funny was what was published more than all of these winter sports activities was the Snow Queen.
The
So
Snow Queen.
So the deal was that the Blue Hills Recreation Club had these rules. So Snow Queen had to be on ice skates on the pond, and had to be at least 18 years old. And they had 3 judges. One of them was a city councilor. I don't know the other 2 people, but.
Okay.
And so they were going to go look on the ice to vote on who's the prettiest one. So they picked this one girl and said, okay, she's the prettiest. She wins the trophy. And but then the Blue Hills Recreation Club found out she wasn't on skates. She was only 15. They asked for the trophy back. She refused to give it to them. But the other thing that I think is absolutely hysterical is there's this building across the street. It now has a brick facade. It's right at the intersection of Willard Street and Wesson Avenue.
Okay.
And that was where the ballroom was. So they always had a queen at the ballroom as part of each festival.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And this is hysterical. What they said in 1934 about the ballroom. Promptly at 10 o'clock, the doors of the St. Moritz Ballroom in West Quincy were swung wide, and with the orchestra playing jingle bells, the horse and sleigh came galloping onto the floor amid a cleverly arranged artificial snowstorm. At the reins was Mayor Ross, and at his side, the Queen of St. Moritz. The ride continued around the hall several times as a big audience cheered and marveled at the beautiful setting as the lights were dimmed. This is not a large facility.
This is
It's still there. It's indoors with a horse
sleigh.
galloping around.
If folks do want to attend one of the tours, they need to email you, correct?
Correct.
so@quincyma.gov.
Right. And if they would like to, the tours are generally filled fairly quickly. So
Okay.
if you want to find out, they're free tours every month.
Okay.
And if you want to be on the email list, you also will just send me an email saying you like to be put on the list. And I'll
Okay.
be happy to do that.
All right. Fun to talk to you today, Sally. Really appreciate it, and thanks for bringing in the video and all those materials.
Well, thank QATV for posting it and making it available to people, because it is really an amazing.
It's neat.
You know,
It's a neat
part of
story that a
Quincy
lot
history.
of folks
Yeah,
don't know about.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
myself included. So I've
Yeah.
learned something too. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.